Goldenrod. This is one of my favorite plants in the fall. A lot of herbalists will call it the sunshine for your system. It is perfect plant for what's happening in fall and what your body needs for support, because this plant restores balance so well. What does it do for you? Well, it's a lot of different things. I love using this for a UTI or for kidney and bladder issues because it really helps to flush things out. Toxins are being flushed out of the kidney and bladder, and it's very, very helpful and supportive for that. The other thing it does is it helps support the sinuses. It's a very mild decongestant and a mild expectorant, so that can really be helpful during that time of year when the fall plants are growing and pollen's going off and the sinuses start to really take a hit. It's an anti-inflammatory, so it's also very supportive for the system in that way. So I love this for the sinuses. Also, joint pain, and that's because it's an anti-inflammatory. I have another suspicion as to how it also helps with joint pain, but for the most part, yes, it is a mild anti-inflammatory, so it's going to help a little bit more supportive and reducing that inflammation in the joints, which we can all use help with that. So the other thing that it does is immune support. This little plant is really good at calming an overactive immune system. So if the immune system is just too much is going on, which often happens during that season change, then that's when you're gonna see goldenrod come in to really help the body not be so overstimulated by your immune system. This is another reason why I like goldenrod so much. This is the perfect time of year it pops up to help with that. It also is very helpful with digestive system, believe it or not, and that's because it can really help with bloating and gas and really help the body to help the digestive system to work a little more efficiently. So that's helpful. But my number one most admired benefit from this plant by far is the allergy relief you get from it. I know it looks like ragweed. In fact, a lot of people mistake it for ragweed, and it's not. But this actually helps with allergies. It is true a handful of people could be allergic to the goldenrod itself, and that could actually cause a problem. But for the most part, people will find great relief. It has great antihistamine properties, and that's because it's filled with quercetin and rutin, and these are things that your body needs to quell that histamine response in the body. So while fall is happening, the change of seasons happening, the weather's going off, pollination is changing everywhere, people will find histamines go crazy. Their allergies are going crazy. This is why I love using what nature has provided for us during the right season to counteract that. And that's goldenrod. It's my favorite antihistamine for fall. You can also combine this with your other antihistamines, of course, like nettles, even Chinese skullcap, but this thing is great. And I love using it for those allergies and seasonal responses. It can help with the watery eyes, itchy eyes, and a lot of that is all pretty much like we call hay fever. Those are the seasonal allergies, and that's what this guy is gonna help you with. Perfect timing, right? So now that we know what it does, how do we harvest this? Because you know what? This is going off everywhere in our area right now. So goldenrod goes off in the fall, and that's when you see it the most. It can get really, really, really tall, quite a few feet, 6 feet. I've seen 8-foot goldenrod when it's very mature. It's amazing. But what you want to do is harvest it when the little yellow flowers are just starting to pop off, like this. They're not completely fully bloomed yet, but they're just starting to pop off here. That's the perfect time. When you go to harvest it, you want to harvest the top 1/3 of the plant. So we're getting the leaves, the stem, and the flowers here. That's what we're after. The bottom half I leave because it can actually do some more work, because it's very helpful for the soil, believe it or not. But you want to top this off. Also, when I'm harvesting goldenrod, I leave some in each clump or cluster for the pollinators, because this is an amazing herb for all those pollinators. The bees love this, so the butterflies love it. So when you go to harvest, don't over harvest in one place. I know a lot of you have heard me say this before, but it's important to take your harvesting from a clean space or clean source. That means not from the roadside, not from a ditch. If it's too close to the road, it's going to pull in the toxins and the pollution from all the vehicles. And you don't want that if you're using this for medicine. It's better to find it further out in a field. Way better. That's actually what you're after. So you have a clean source, because this little guy will also pull up yucky pollution from the soil, because it's a great soil cleanser. So just remember, you're going to harvest this from a great place. When you're done harvesting it, I bundle this together and I will tie it upside down, and it can dry out in the fall season if it's dry. Now, where we live at the Gulf Coast, it's not dry oftentimes in fall, so we have to take it indoors with the AC or put it in a dehydrator. That will also work. Just keep it on a lower setting. It will dry up pretty quickly. You're going to use the flowers and the leaves, so you're going to want all of that together. At least that's the way I do it. So this is how we're going to do it. Now, how do we use this awesome plant? You can make tea out of it, and you can do it fresh. Just remember, when you're using fresh plant versus dried, you're going to use more of it. So I would take leaf and flower, and I would probably put the equivalent of 3 heaping tablespoons of it to 16 ounces of hot water. But if you're doing it dried, you would take the dried flower and leaf crumbled up and do a heaping tablespoon of that to about 16 ounces of hot water. You're going to pour it in, put that in your infuser, pour your hot water over this herb, and I usually put a little saucer or something over it for it to steep, and I'm going to let it steep about 15 to 20 minutes. That's all this really needs. Then when I pull the herb out, I drink my tea. You can also do this by making other things, other blends. This pairs really nicely with a mint of any type or even lemon balm. So those are great ways to add a little extra oomph while you're working on this. I also add this to nettles if I want a bigger boost for my antihistamine. That works well too. You can also tincture this, and tincturing typically is using an alcohol extraction. You could do a glycerite extraction. That's a whole different video on how to do that, but using fresh plant versus dried means you'll use a lot more of it in the jar, covering with alcohol, and let it sit for at least 6 weeks for it to brew before you strain it out. And then the liquid left behind is your nice herbal extraction medicine. You can also make a salve out of this, and I've done that for anti-itch and skin relief itching for that yucky, itchy time when the seasons change. That's another way that you can use this. So whichever way you're using it, I know that you'll get a lot of benefit from it, because this little guy is going off everywhere right now outside. So like I always say, natural healing is totally doable.